Absolutely, I can do that. Let's dive into the lion and the goat, and I'll ask you 12 questions one at a time and keep track for you. Here comes the first question. Question 1. At the beginning of the story, what kind of place did the lion and the goat meet in?
Well, before that, it was like one dry summer day. Very dry, barely any water, and I think it was in like a savanna, which I believe is a very, very hot place, I think. And yeah, well, the lion and the goat met at a pond with only a little bit of water, like maybe like a amount of like a bottle, like those big, a bit like those tall water bottles that you can find at like convenience stores such as 7-Eleven or maybe like a grocery store. I do not know. So yeah.
That's a great start. So they met at a nearly dried up pond in a hot savanna with just a little bit of water left. Perfect. Let's move on to the next question. Question 2. What do the lion and the goat both want to do when they see the water?
They want to drink it, but the lion said that like he was like here first, so that he should drink first, and the goat said no, and he said the same thing that the lion said. So yeah, and also they got there at the exact same time. So yeah.
Exactly. They both wanted to drink that water, and each of them claimed they should be the first because they arrived at the same time. Great answer. Question 3. How do the lion and the goat decide to settle who gets to drink first?
I don't know. They just fight it, and they were like, after like a very long fight, they just got like tired, or just stopped fighting. And the lion noticed the vultures, and the lion said something about like if they fight for too long, they might get too weak, and the vultures will have a chance to have a meal out of them, which I think what vultures do. Like I think vultures just eat like animals and stuff. I don't know how. So yeah.
Absolutely, that's spot on. They basically ended up fighting each other until they got tired, and then the lion noticed those vultures circling overhead. That made them realize if they kept fighting, they'd both be too weak and become an easy meal for the vultures. And yes, vultures definitely do eat animals that are already weakened or dead, so the lion was right on that. Question 4. After realizing the danger from the vultures, what did the lion and the goat decide to do next?
Well, they decided to share the water. They doing a little bit like after each other's turns. So yeah.
Exactly. They decided to share the water and take turns drinking it so that they both got a fair share. That way they avoided exhausting themselves and kept safe from those vultures. Nicely done. Question 5. What is the moral or the lesson that the lion and the goat learn from this whole situation?
Well, they just learned to share, I think, so yeah. Or like they just share just to get out of the vulture situation, I think. But yeah, I think they just got, I think they just became friends, and yeah.
Absolutely, that sums it up really well. They basically learned that sharing and cooperating was the best way out of that tricky situation. And in the process, they kind of became friends, or at least realized that working together was a lot smarter than fighting. Great job answering that. Let me know if you'd like to dive into another story or anything else.
Okay, how many stories how many questions did we already did so far?
We've gone through 5 questions so far, so we're almost halfway through the set of 12. Let's keep going whenever you're ready.
Just keep going until like the last question, which is 12.
You got it. Let's keep going straight through to question 12. Question 6, after the lion and the goat started sharing the water, did they come up with any kind of agreement or understanding about how to handle future conflicts like this?
I would say the story didn't show that, since it was like one of those short stories, which only consists like a few pages. So yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Some short stories just wrap up with the main lesson and don't go into a lot of extra details. So yeah, they probably didn't show any formal agreement, just the idea that they learn to share and handle conflicts a bit better. Great answer. Did the story mention anything about how the other animals reacted to the lion and the goat's new friendship or cooperation?
No.
Alright, that's nice and simple then. Sometimes a short story keeps the focus just on the main characters and the lesson and doesn't really dive into what other animals think. So that's totally fine. Question 8. In the end, do you think the lion and the goat actually respected each other more after sharing the water?
I technically do not know, since it was like a very short story, like ended like once they like shared the water. So I think maybe. So yeah.
That's totally fair. With a short story like that, sometimes you just have to guess or imagine that maybe they did respect each other a bit more afterwards, even if the story doesn't say it outright. So maybe is a good answer. If you were to tell this story to someone else, what do you think would be the most important part to remember?
I think it would be like the moral of the story, since it is really important.
Absolutely. The moral is definitely the key part to remember and share. That's the heart of the story, after all. Learning to share and cooperate instead of fighting. Great choice. Do you think this story could apply to real life situations?
Yeah, I would say like, it can apply to real life in situations such as like being enemies to friends and many other stuff.
Absolutely. It can definitely apply to real life. Turning from enemies into friends or just learning to cooperate with someone you might not get along with first is a really important lesson. Great insight. If you were to add one more detail or a little twist to this story, what would you add?
I am not sure, but I would say like I would add like another voucher. In the story there was 2, but I'm just gonna add an extra voucher, because why not? The story will still be the same, but yeah, but that's just an extra voucher. That's it.
I love that. Just a little extra voucher for fun. It keeps the story the same, but adds a tiny twist. Sometimes those small details make it more memorable or just a bit more fun. All right, here we go. Last question. How did you feel answering all these questions about the story?
Fine, I guess.
I'm glad to hear that. You did a great job working through all 12 questions, and it was fun to explore the story with you. If you ever want to do this again with another story or anything else, just let me know.
Okay, so how many questions did we done already?
We've completed all 12 questions now. So you made it all the way to the end.